Hello my Scrappy friends, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters and thank you for joining me for a COAPA Cutfiles design team layout. This month we are all participating in the Scrap the Boys mood board and challenge. So the challenge for July for Scrap the Boys is to use that sort of smoky rainbow effect mood board and to incorporate a cut file into your layout. I am using the Lazy Days cut file from the COAPA Etsy shop, link in the description box down below. And I am having a go at creating this rainbow smoky effect on top of my letters. Now these letters are literally the cutout bits that came from inside the cut file. So I won't actually be backing my cut file today. I'm going to be slotting these letters back in their exact place like a jigsaw. So first of all, I'm putting on heaps and heaps of water to paint these letters. I find that if I use a lot of water, it sort of allows for bleeding, I guess, and it helps the rainbow effect sort of flow from one colour to the next more fluently. So there's not such a division line between where the colours change. They kind of bleed into each other and make a beautiful flow as the colours move across. So my tip, if you want to do something like that, is definitely to make sure you are starting with your lightest colour first. So you'll notice that I started with yellow because imagine if you're getting up to your dark green now, I'm about to move into blues. Those colours are getting really, really dark. And I go from using my darkest blue to then want to change into my yellow. That's not really going to flow very well. Not just because the colours don't flow very well, but I mean because my brush will be super dirty, my water will be super dirty, and my yellow will go a bit of a murky colour. They also won't bleed in together very well. They'll just, when they touch each other, they'll turn brown. Not a nice look. So definitely try and keep your colours either next door to each other on the colour wheel, so when they flow together they have a really nice effect, or opposite each other on the colour wheel, so like yellow and purple, but give them a little bit more time to dry, because when your yellow and your purple touch, they will go a bit of a murky brown colour, which is definitely not the look you're after. Also, if you find it, maybe you do want, like now, I'm about to go to a lighter colour, okay? And you will see it's going to get murky. What I should have done in this case is change my brush and change my water, or really wash my brush properly and change my water. I've moved up to try and get a really, really light pink, and it's not. Like, look at that colour. It's fine for this layout, but if I actually wanted a lot of that really light sort of peachy pink, horrible. Okay. So here is where the random technique comes into play. I saw on the internet that you should use Windex. When I first sprayed the Windex, it did have a really gorgeous sort of alcohol effect onto the layout. I feel like it didn't dry in that way though. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know about the salt. The salt to me was not a new effect. The Windex was the new effect. So I added on my table salt. Wanted table salt because I wanted like a finer sort of oxidization happening on the picture, but it definitely worked. There is definitely a cute effect on each of these letters, but the salt kind of stuck. I did find it quite difficult to get the salt off and ended up mostly using my finger to rub it off as opposed to using the brush. But you can see there, the paper was already textured, so you can see that it has a really cute technique on it. So here are all my bits and pieces ready to go. So I've got my cut file here, which is the Lazy Days. And I'm not going to lie, I actually had a lot of trouble placing my photographs. I really struggled to squeeze all three on in the positioning that I have them without cutting too much of our heads off. So yeah, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me figure that out. I've just glued on the Lazy Days straight to the paper. All my letters are now stuck up on foam. So the inside bit, the painted bit of my letters, they are up on foam. So they're just going straight back in where they belong, but popped up on foam, which I just think is such a cute effect. You can't see this Hopefully you can when you see the close-up photos, but I've also painted a little bit of gold sparkles on the edge of each of my letters. I got that little tip off Kelly from Kelly Made It. I just think that is a gorgeous little effect to add a bit of pop and a bit of sparkle to the edge of your letters. So yes, that's what I did there. So the actual outline of the word lazy days is stuck straight flat to the black, but my photos and my letters, or the coloured part of my letters, are up on foam. So I've stuck all of that down, and now it's time for embellishing. You may notice that my top photo, the one of me sort of kissing Thomas's head, is slightly off the page. That's kind of the best I could do, and I was going to cut that corner off without covering too much of Thomas and my face. But I'm not happy with my photo placement. I feel like maybe days should have been more over to the right hand side of the page, give myself a little bit more space. Maybe I should have only had 2 photos. Maybe I should have made the cut file a tiny bit smaller. Whatever it is that would have worked better, I'm not thrilled with my photo placement, and I will come back to that later on in the video. So now for embellishing, I am using the Paige Evans Wonders collection. So I fussy cut the florals off a 12 by 12 pattern piece, and then the ephemera is just some of the super cute little bugs and beetles and ladybug and butterfly, and there's a dragonfly somewhere that came in her floral ephemera pack. And then you can notice that the inside of the A in lazy, I guessed that one perfectly, but the inside of the A in days, I was a bit off. So I actually got a little laugh sort of pennant flag that's actually from Vicky Bouton's Colour Story. I just knew I had that in my scrap, and it was green, which was the perfect sort of colour match for where the A was in the flow. So that's why I stuck that on, and it had to go there because I really didn't like how far off I had been when I was guessing the inside of the A. Going to use this layout already has a title, so this is kind of its second title, which is Here and Now. I love these little tiny thickers. I think these are the Fifth and Monaco ones, which are just gorgeous. So just popping that on, which says Here and Now. I do have to pop the H and the E up on a teeny bit of foam because they're off off the Lazy Days letters, which is a little bit annoying working with such a small area to foam up, but it's worth it to keep them on that same height plane, that height level. What else can I tell you? All of my florals are stuck up on foam, so everything on top of Lazy Days is up on foam. So there's a bit of double levels happening here, which I don't often do because of how thick the dimension is, but this foam is a little bit thinner than I normally use. So I feel like I've got a little bit of leeway here. And then I'm almost finished. Just popping on the last few little floral cutouts that I've made, and then I'm going to pull this, I was about to say Vicky Bouton, the Paige Evans sticker book out. Again, I was seeing if anything was not attached then from the Wonders, and just see if there's anything I'd like to add. And I decided to put a couple of these little gold leaves or flourishes just to add a little bit more of a pop of gold around. And then that was about all. I forgot, sorry. I did put some see-through flower stickers into the clusters as well. But I couldn't really think of anything else to put on. I didn't need to overdo it, but I just felt like I wanted more. But I couldn't put any more, so I've just left it be. I will do some gold splatters, and I am using the Jen Hatfield gold splatters, which if anyone is looking for a Heidi Shine replacement, I feel like it's an exact match, to be honest. I'd finished my Heidi Swap Colour Shine and went straight into the Jen Hatfield, and all I'm noticing is it's easier to splatter, like it's a bit runnier, I guess, or a bit oilier, but not in a bad way, like it doesn't leave an oily residue or anything. But I then also wonder, I feel like the Heidi Swap Colour Shine was probably that easy to splatter when it was new, but because I've been using like the last little trickle of it for so long, I've forgotten. So just splattering that on. You can see that I did move my photo just a little bit more, covered a bit more of myself and Thomas's face. I decided I'd rather do that than have it off the page. And because I had the 2 other photos on the page, I kind of felt like, you know who the photos are of, you know what it's about. I'm going to give myself permission to kind of cut our heads off. Still not thrilled with it, but moving on. Felt like the layout needed a little bit, maybe a border or something on it. If I had a white pen, I probably would have just done a white pen doodly border, but I don't have a white pen. Katie, if you're looking for December advent calendar ideas, I need a white pen, please. So I decided to do one of those sort of cut out distressed top and bottom edge thingies that I love, that I know my friend Melissa Vining does quite a bit, and she inspired me to pull that out and to add that to my layout, which I think was really good. I think this layout needed just a little bit of something, just to sort of help finish it off. So you can see I'm just using a scrap piece of paper from the Wonders collection that I'd already cut into and used before, messing that up a little bit, distressing that edge, and then, popping it in and under. Trying to get a little bit of a mix of colour just to go with that kind of rainbow effect of the lazy days. And I just think it's a really nice way to finish off the layout. And for me as well, it gives me a little bit more control than trying to do a doodly border. I really struggle with doodly borders. I don't usually love the way they end up looking, so I'm quite happy with how this has finished off the page. So I'm definitely pleased that I went ahead and sort of cut into my paper right when it was finished and added this on. So once this one is stuck down, she is done, and I have some close-up photos for you. So definitely keep a lookout to see if you can see the little pop of sparkly gold that's on the edge of the letters. It's not everywhere. It's just like a little highlight accent around the letters. But just look at that color pop and look at the effect that I feel like it's more the salt than the Windex, but that salt and Windex had on the letters there as well. If that isn't a match to that mood board, I don't know what is, I tell you folks. So thank you so much for watching along. I do hope you can check out the Etsy shop, which is in the description box down below, for COAPA Cutfiles, and maybe you can participate in the Scrap the Boys challenge as well.